Hey guys, if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a very interesting battle video to share with you guys. Today we're going to be talking about the classic Lightning OTF. For anybody who doesn't know, this is a very budget-friendly OTF knife that you can get at Grindworks. These come in at about 30 bucks, and they're not made out of anything special, but boy, are they dependable little OTFs, right? Fairly durable, you know, and if you lose it or break it, right, no big deal. And then the new, apparently, Lightning OTF Elite, which, you know, I just became, you know, aware of just the other day. You can get this on the same website for literally $5 more. So, you know, that to a lot of people would seem like a no-brainer, right? It's elite, right? For $5 more. I'm going to go over all the differences that I've noticed, and then later in this video, I'm actually going to open these up and we're going to look at the inside of it, and then I'm going to give you guys my opinion. There's some oddball stuff here. There's some weird information that I got from some other commenters and on the website, so we're going to talk all about that. Thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. If you're enjoying the daily knife content on this channel and you'd like to support me, you can get your hands on some cool stickers and other benefits if you'd like to join my Patreon. You're supporting me in the world to me. And please follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. So normally I do like a full review, but really we're just going to take a couple of measurements and then I'm going to compare it with the old Lightning here. So the overall length of the new Lightning Elite is coming in. I mean, it's extremely similar. Coming in at just shy of 8 inches overall, and that's because the blade is just a little teeny tiny bit shorter for whatever reason. The blade length, I guess if you want to measure it down here, you can call it 3.5 inches. You want to measure it up here, you can call it 3.3, 3 point something like that, right? The cutting edge is about 3.25. The Lightning, we are at a slight angle here, right? So when I put these two right side by side, they look identical, but truthfully, the Lightning OTF has a ever so slightly longer blade. I don't know why. The handle profile is exactly the same. These two are exactly the same length. But there are differences between the handle and everything like that. Thickness, they're both going to be about the same. Blade stock thickness, both about the same. In fact, I'll measure that for you guys here real quick. Blade stock thickness on the Lightning coming in at 125 thousandths. And for the Lightning Elite, I'm going to guess exactly the same. Well, it's actually saying less. That's interesting. Let's go ahead and measure that one more time. Yeah, 120 thousandths. 120. It's going to be about the same, right? Now, the grinds are a little bit different. We're going to talk about that. Let's talk about weight. Both of these are using aluminum. I have no idea what type of aluminum. This looks like some sort of cast aluminum, right? It holds up. It's okay. I got an old one right here. It's a very old Lightning that's been beat on by my brother for years and years and years. Been resharpened multiple times. Totally fine. Still going strong. Weight on the original Lightning coming in at 3.81 ounces. Lightning Elite. Curiously heavier. Interesting. I'm going to guess that that has something to do with the internals. Yeah, let's weigh the old one more time. All right, so the new one's a little bit heavier. I have no idea. Let's see here. How is the action between the two? So this is something, there was a video released by Grindworks where they talked about, you know, the feeling and a couple of little changes here and there. Action-wise, so this brand new one, it comes to here, and then there's an obvious stop where it's about to throw the blade, right? And then it fires good. It does kind of twang. I don't know if you guys can hear this. Let's try it up here. Can't remember where the mic is. Can you hear that? This one, that was the old one. This one, it does not really have that stopping point with it. It's much smoother. This one is just ever so slightly more clunky and kind of clank to actuate. This is a little smoother, right? There's no exact... I can't tell exactly where it is that the blade's going to throw. It just finally reaches a point where it's going to throw it, right? The whole thing feels a little bit better. This, the teeth on the button, little teeny tiny bit sharper on the old guy, right? This literally both of these are literally just a couple of weeks old. I just ordered them off the website, right? This guy, the firing switch is a little bit smoother. Honestly, they're both about the same. I think maybe this might have a taller peak, right? This guy might not be as obtrusive. This is slightly more obtrusive. It's pretty trivial. They both feel, in terms of power, they feel about identical, right? So I think they're both going to be plenty reliable in and out. Neither of these have failed. I've actually taken this one out and used it just a little bit. Not much. You can see, I think it went through some cardboard and some other just light stuff, right? This guy, same kind of thing. Neither one of them has failed, so that's fine. As far as the texturing, it's obviously meant to be essentially the same thing. The texture pattern just looks a little bit different. This is a little more rounded. This is a little more rocky. I honestly kind of prefer the rocky look. This looks like, you know, when you turn the exposure up on Instagram, that's what this looks like. This is a little round, more, you know. The finish is also a little more reflective on this guy, and this is a little more matte. What's funny is that the old finish on the old Lightning also used to be more reflective, right? Screws on this guy right here, I believe these are T8 and these are T6. I'm going to find out real quick. Get out my tools. You can get my tools right down in the description. They are both very recommendable and very inexpensive. Great stuff. On the original Lightning OTF, yeah, these are T8s. And on the new guy, the Lightning Elite, I got more information. I know people are, it might actually be different. I know. We're getting to that, right? We're getting to that. Some weird stuff going on with this Lightning Elite and where it's made and who it's made by. We're going to get to it. T6. Yeah. So, T6 on this guy, T8 on this guy. I prefer T8, but okay, it's T6. If you want to get into it, that's what you're going to have to use. Thickness between the handles is about the same, right? Fit and finish all the way around, though. I'm going to give it to this guy. I mean, this still is nothing compared to, like, if you're watching this thinking, like, I don't need that, you know, like, I'll just buy a Lightning OTF. I don't need to buy a Microtech to get, like, super high quality fit and finish. No, that's a different territory. If you're watching this right because, you know, you want to in some way justify the quality of this over like a really high-end automatic knife. Now, neither of these are anywhere close to high-end OTFs. But if you're on a budget, right, and you're just looking for a simple tool, you're wondering, like, should I spend 35 or 30? Which one's going to be more reliable? What's it all about? That's who this is for. But yeah, actually, the lines meet up a lot better on this guy. You can see, like, we still got a little bit of wonkiness here, right? But I think it's better overall than this guy's got like a lip right here. So it meets up in some places and not in others. We got some dirt and crap up there. No, I mean, this guy kind of came dirty, right? Up here. Lines are just a little more clunky on this guy. They're a little bit smoother, a little more, you know, kind of, everything just looks like it fits together a little better, right? The other nice thing is that the pocket clip on this guy is being held in by 2 hex head screws for whatever reason. This guy is, and it'll also wiggle after a while, or you got to make sure those are cranked down. This guy's got 3 Torx heads. That's going to make sure that it's going to do a lot better job at keeping, you know, from wiggling all over the place. But other than that, the pocket clip is essentially the same thing. It's okay. It's got a little teeny tiny bit of a bill. Actually, it has less of a bill than the old one, so that's nice. It'll fight your pants just a little bit less. And then the pocket clip says Lightning Elite on the Elite version, right? This one doesn't. Seems silly, right, when we're comparing. It's like one's $5 more, right? Different blade shapes that are available between the two. This one has the drop point blade, and this one obviously has a drop point blade. Between the 2 drop point blades, you can see here that there is quite a bit of difference. This new guy has a fuller. The flat carries out roughly to the same point. This guy says Lightning on the blade. This one doesn't say anything on the blade. What's the blade steel? Probably 440C. Is it heat treated correctly? I don't know. I mean, honestly, guys, probably not. It's probably not heat treated optimally. It's probably all over the place, right? You're spending 30 to 35 bucks on a knife. You're just not gonna get anything mega. I mean, like on an OTF, right? You can get good quality and good heat treat, generally speaking, from a Civivi knife between the $40 and $50 mark, which I would consider in the same territory. But on these Lightning OTFs, are you getting any hint of any you know, this is basically just a convenient item to use. It's built just good enough to be resilient, but as far as like, you know, the heat treat, like little things like heat treat on the blade, is that going to be consistent? No, probably not. It'll cut until it doesn't, and then you're going to have to sharpen it. That's basically what you can expect from this. But the blade on the new guy does look better. After firing it lots and lots of times, I'm not seeing any indication of heavy rubbing. Maybe a little bit on this side. I just wiped a little bit of something off right there. This guy immediately is showing signs of heavy rubbing, right? You can see right there, I'm wiping that off. Same over here. This guy rubs a lot. And as far as like blade play, it's okay. It's better than the old one. The old one, oh, this is all over the place, right? This guy, it's a little bit tighter. This guy, it's slightly tighter than this one, right? But I think it's coming out a little straighter. I think this guy wiggles all over. I think that's why you're hearing so much when this thing, right? This guy rattles too. It's the button. And in the closed position, right? This guy, nothing. Nothing. It just doesn't move around as much. This guy's a little bit more clankety-clunkety, right? But every Lightning I've ever had has done that and has always been fine. I've owned a ton of these over the years and used them, given them away as gifts. They're all fine, right? This guy just doesn't do that for $5 more, and the blade looks like, if it is rubbing, it's pretty minimal. Another thing that I noticed is that this guy did not come with any nicks or rolls on the edge, and the edge was decent. Right? It's not amazing. It's not, you're not going to get an edge like you would on a much more expensive knife, but behind the edge, it's okay. It's not razor thin, but it's thin enough, you know, for EDC. It's got a tip on it, right? I think actually, yeah, we have this is hollow ground, and then I think the original Lightning is flat ground. So, unless I'm mistaken, that feels like a hollow grind, and this is a flat grind. Whatever. Honestly, either one is going to be fine, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think this one's ground just a little bit better. It looks a little bit nicer. Everything, I mean, this guy is like really, there was like some kind of crazy wonkiness. Like we had more or less polishing on different parts of the cutting bevel. And we had a little bit of, you know, this one didn't have much of a surprise recurve. It does have a little bit, right? This one definitely, when this one was brand new, it definitely had a recurve, which is something you might get periodically. Between these Lightnings, you're going to get more or less of a flat, more or less of a, you know, swedge, right? Different levels of thickness on it. You can see that this guy, this swedge is a little more aggressive, a little less material on the spine storing than this side. Probably the same inconsistencies with this guy, except that everything is just stepped up a notch, right? The blade overall seems better. There are multiple different blades. There's a Tanto, there's a double edge or dagger, right? And then they've got two-tone. They don't have nearly as many colors of these guys as they do the Lightning. The Lightning comes in like every configuration you could possibly, the standard Lightning comes in every configuration you could possibly imagine. So for a lot of people, that's going to be reason enough. The Lightning is still recommendable, by the way, guys. This is still good, right? For a lot of people, it's going to be worth going for the original Lightning just because there are so many more options right now. So yeah, there you go. What else can we talk about here? Neither one of them have a blade that pokes up where I feel like I'm gonna risk running my finger. Well, actually, you know what? The Lightning, I think part of the reason the blade's a little shorter on this guy, now that I look at it, is to make sure that that tip is nowhere near something you can touch while it's, you know, it's sheathed, I guess, inside of the handle. This guy, it's a tiny. The older one is a tiny bit deeper. They're both pretty close to the. You can see the tips there. This one almost flush with the top. That bothers me. If you run your finger over that, you might actually nick yourself, right? It's kind of nice that the blade on this guy's a little bit shorter. It's sunk all the way down in there. There's no way that I'm going to be able to touch it. So that's cool. Yeah, all the way around, fit and finish on this guy is just a little bit better. Action's just a little bit smoother, right? Just a little bit snappier. Power, about the same. Pocket clip on the new guy is better, right? Fit and finish, you know, the lines meeting up everywhere is better. Ergonomically, they feel the same. As far as, like, using them, they're going to be fine. The grind on the new guy is a little better. So what's the deal about... What do you mean? It's like, it's not, like, people I'm sure were wondering, like, what do you mean when you said that earlier? It might be a different company. So if you type in, let me move my pad here for a sec. If you type in Bolt OTF, you're going to find a page on Grindworks that shows an old what it looks like is a Lightning clone, which is funny because the Lightning OTF is like kind of a partial copy of like every OTF that's existed, right? The Bolt is a budget version of the Lightning, but it's made in China, whereas the Lightning is made in Taiwan, right? So this is called the Lightning Elite, but is it actually the same company offering an upgrade to their original? I don't know. I think it might be the same company who made the Bolt, and they just chose to call it the Lightning Elite because they're like, whatever, what are you going to do about it? I mean, truthfully, we're in a world of knives where nobody really, these companies don't really follow rules, right? So this might actually be another company competing with the company that makes the Lightning OTF, or it could be the same company just operating out of two different plants, right? It could be they have a plant in China and one in Taiwan, right? How could that be? Look, Spyderco does that. Spyderco's got a Chinese plant. They've got a place in Taiwan that makes knives, right? Who knows? It could be the same company. There's just differences, right? The lines are different. They're not in the same place. The texturing looks the same, but it's a little different. The overall profile looks the same, but it's a little different. So, is this the same company who made the Bolt? And if that's the case, is this just the Bolt with a different blade, and is it actually not as good as the Lightning or I mean, not as reliable over a long period of time? I don't know. I'm gonna open these up and we're gonna look at them. Not that I'm a professional on OTF chassis, but we're gonna look at them. So far, this just feels better all the way around, right? It's possible that it's all the same company, or it's possible that it's two completely different companies competing with each other and not following any rules about whether or not they're allowed to copy each other, right? And then this company here got real creative, and instead of dancing around the whole Lightning theme, they just called theirs the Lightning as well and then slapped the word Elite on it, right? If you look at the old Bolt, it has the exact same pocket clip, and it looks exactly the same as the Lightning OTF. It just has a slightly different blade than both this guy and this guy. And even on the website, it says, like, hey, the Bolt is meant as it's made in China, it's not made in Taiwan, and it's meant as a budget version of the Lightning, which is funny, because the Lightning is definitely a budget knife, right? And they even say it's more prone to failure than the Lightning, so you just reset it right, blah, blah, blah. But both of these have had about 500 actuations, and neither of them have failed. And honestly, the one that it feels like it's more likely to fail is this guy. They both feel good, but this one just feels a little more rickety and clunky, right? I think I've had my Lightnings in the past fail 3 or 4 times between the 3 or 4 that I've owned after thousands of actuations, right? If yours starts slowing down, put some rem oil on it. Use rem oil, that's great for OTFs. Take it apart, clean it out, put some rem oil on it, and it should be just fine, right? After a while, maybe you'll have to replace the spring. I've heard that you can get aftermarket springs for these things, right? Just keep them going, whatever you want to do. All right, we're going to open these up. But to keep this from being like a 40-minute video, I am probably going to edit it for time. So I know some of you want to see every last little intricacy that's involved with taking these apart, but I'm going to stumble around it, and it's going to be kind of a mess. So it's going to be slightly edited so that you don't have to sit through all that. So anyways, we're going to start here with the Lightning. So we'll get that guy taken apart first. All right, and now we're going to take apart the Lightning Elite. And you'll, like I said earlier, this guy was a T8, which is this bit here, but we're going to have to switch out to a T6. Okay, so here's just a couple of little things that I noticed. First off, so I accidentally I fired this thing while it was the thing. Don't do that. Do not fire this when the scale's off of it, because it literally threw the blade. It didn't do any damage to anything, but it launched the blade out of the end. Don't do that. It's dangerous. So this one I'm going to have to put back together. But I think you just get that down in there and slide that deal over there, and it'll be fine. But Anyways, the interesting thing here is that the Lightning, the original Lightning, has 2 springs. This guy has 1 spring, but it's larger. So it's just a little tiny bit of a larger spring. If 1 spring fails on this guy, you'll have another one, but is that enough to throw the blade? I don't really know. Or is a 2-spring setup better or more reliable than a single spring setup? I don't know. The Microtech Scarab apparently has 2 springs, but I've handled a Scarab that was failing. I've got a Microtech Combat Troodon and have handled countless of other high-end OTFs that operate on a single spring, and they've never failed, right? So, I don't know which is better, but there you go. That's the difference with the internals there, right? As far as like how they operate, it's essentially the exact same idea, but in and out, just like feeling this, everything on this guy is just held in place a little bit better, right? Neither knife looks less clean on the inside. This guy looks like less finished on the inside than this guy, but then again, it looks like maybe they just went, you know, whatever this coating is, this paint, right? They just did it, made sure that it was all the way on the inside too. Taking the screws out of this guy and getting the scale off of the Elite. Right, by the way, the Elite is on the bottom. That was much easier than on this guy. The screws, by the way, had some thread locker on the Elite, like blue thread locker, which is great. I like that. There was nothing on the Lightning. So the screws came right out, but the scale fought me. It was like really wedged in there and just kind of press fit together. And then on this guy, the scale just came right off, but the screws were thread locked. So that's nice. It makes me feel like this was put together a little bit better. There's nothing that makes me think that one is going to last longer than the other one. It's interesting that the power feels exactly the same between the two, and I'm guessing that's because this spring on the inside of this guy is, again, just a little bit bigger than both the springs on the Lightning. I don't know. As far as like how the switch fits in there, it's about the same. I mean, I'm not an expert on OTFs, but it's the same idea, but the internals are different. So again, is this the same company or is it 2 different companies? I have no idea. I don't know. It seems weird that, like, it both seems weird to me that the Lightning company would want to upgrade their design and like make because of, you know, it's like if it really is that much better, they're kind of making all Lightning OTFs obsolete, right? Honestly, they feel just extremely similar. But it also makes sense to me, maybe they would want to do that, right? It also makes sense to me that it's actually 2 different companies. I just have no idea. I don't have the information here to be able to tell you guys factually that, you know, one situation is the case. But yeah, I don't know. I hope you guys are getting something out of the internals here, or just the look at it. They both have that latch operation, right? Where there's a latch here and a latch here, right? And the chassis just sits in there. So there you go. There's a look at the internals. Anyways, we'll get these put back together, and I'll do my final conclusions. Okay, so both of these are back together. They both came back together like super easy. There was no issue with that. OTFs in general are more complicated on the inside. There are a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of ways that you can mess it up outside of a normal, like, liner lock folding knife, right? So these are more complicated and more finicky to take apart, but truthfully, overall, it really wasn't that big of a deal. This one, I accidentally like I said, don't fire it when the thing's off there because it'll throw the blade. This guy overall, both of them came back together perfectly fine. This guy overall was just easier to take apart. Seems like everything on the inside is just a little cleaner too. It's surprising to me that it's only using 1 spring, but the spring is bigger. It's a more robust spring, so maybe that's how they get the same feeling, right? I don't know. They seriously, they feel about the same. This guy's just easier to actuate because it just doesn't, you know, this is just a little more rickety. It's just a little more of a sloppy knife. Now, sorry, I keep moving my background. So the ultimate question here, Metal Complex, do we all rush out and buy a Lightning Elite for $5 more? Well, here's the thing. It's a $35 knife, right? It's not going to break the bank. $5 more than the Lightning. Is it $5 more of a knife than the Lightning? Yeah, I'd say so. It's at least $5 nicer of a knife, but it is essentially the same thing, right? When you break it down, it's an OTF using 440C that is maybe kind of heat treated correctly, right? It's using some kind of cast aluminum, right? and it seems to be reliable, and it seems to fire hard and lock out the way that it's supposed to. It's just a little more solid, right? So, those of you who already own the Lightning, right, do you need to upgrade to this guy? I wouldn't say it's an absolute necessity. Your Lightning is still absolutely a functional tool, right? You're not, you know, you're essentially buying a slightly better version of the knife that you already have. For those of you who have been dancing around the idea of buying a Lightning forever and all of a sudden there's this Lightning Elite out there, right? And you're thinking, which one should I go with? Go ahead with the Lightning Elite. It's $5 more and you're gonna get a more satisfying build quality overall. Unless you're the type of person who really needs to get exactly the right color, exactly the right blade and, you know, the combination right, then the Lightning for now has more choices, right? Both of them are fine. Both of them are gonna work. Right, both of them are excellent tools, but yeah, it seems like the Lightning Elite is just a little bit better. It's not mind blowing. There's nothing amazing happening here. It's just like, oh yeah, it's a little tiny bit better, right? Little frustrations with this guy have been slightly improved on this one, you know. So I'll still carry and use them both, right? They're so inexpensive that if something happens to one, I'll have another one as a backup. And if something happens to both of them, I'll just buy another one, right? I mean, it's just not, they're just not expensive knives. I'm hoping that there'll be more colors of these guys, right? So, pick whatever one you think is right? If you've just always enjoyed the original Lightning, then fine. If you're intrigued by this guy, I think you're going to be happy with it. If you already own the Lightning and you're like, screw it, I'm a collector, I want to see what it's all about, I think you're going to notice a difference too, right? Let me know down in the comment section if you own both, if you agree with me, right? Or what your experience was. It'd be interesting to know. Guys, that's going to be pretty much it today. That's really all I have to say. I hope this was at least mildly entertaining. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.